Okay, Rabbi Say, everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry I can't see you and you can't see me, but the main thing is to learn Torah together. We're sponsored by A.B. Spry, the Refuah Shalema, for Taiba Reiza Bas Hinda, and for Great Civic for their daughter and grandchildren by Shalom Fogel, Lili Nishmas Yaakov Zeb ben Yehuda Ayer, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzivya Miriam Bas God, Yosef ben Zion ben Yaakov Zev, and for Great Shidduch V'chayet Tzivya Bas Shoshana Gittel. We're sponsored by Baruch Ian, Lili Nishmas Yaakov Chaim and Abba Esther Bas Yaina, Avram ben Shmuel HaKohen, and Refuah Shalema for Liba Bas Anya. We're sponsored for the physical, emotional, and spiritual protection of Yeshua Menachem Mendel ben Bela Shendel Rivka. We're sponsored for the schus of the soldiers and their protection, and for protection for Yidden worldwide. We are also sponsored by Menachem Yamansky with the tefillah that all those that are awaiting their shidduch should find their shidduch quickly and easily. Wow, it's amazing. On a night that I can't see anybody, we already have 40 Zoomers, 39 Zoomers. Really amazing.
Whoa.
Okay, so we are holding, and I'm going to ask you, everybody needs to be muted. Please. We're starting on Daf Ayin Hey Amud Aleph, and we're starting by Boi Minei Mi Rebbe Avo, and that is 9 lines from the top of Ayin Hey Amud Aleph. 9 lines from the top of Ayin Hey Amud Aleph. I'm going to ask you periodically if you're with me because I cannot see anybody. I don't know why, but I cannot see anybody. So, Bo Minei Mi Rebbe Avo, Hani Gurnei de Armoi. Around the grapes, they put netting to hold the grapes in place when it was on the press and it was being pressed. If a Yid wants to use this netting, what does he have to do? Amalei Rebbe Avo Tanitua Harishahoyu Gitov Ubeis Badov Tameyin. If the wine press and the olive press was tomei, now here it means actually tomei. So the process, besides doing tefillah, ubikesh lasoisen b'tara, and you want to produce grapes and olives b'tara, so obviously you need to make sure that there's no tomei stuff around. So hadafin v'adoshin v'halulovim, the boards, the actual press, and the sweepers, where they brought grapes back that moved away, medichan, all you have to do is wash them. V'akolin shel nitzorin v'shel batzputz, the netting, this is the gurney that we were talking about, the netting made out of wicker and made out of batzputz is hemp, which they made rope out of. Menagvon, you have to scour it with hot ash. V'shel shifa v'shel gemi, reeds and bulrushes, netting made from reeds and bulrushes. Miyashnon shnayim eser chodesh. You have to let it age for 12 months. In other words, you don't use it for 12 months and let it ear out. Reb Shimon Gamliel says, Manichon migas legas. The zman is not a year, but rather you leave it from one wine press season to the other wine press season, and one olive press season to the other olive press season. Now, what's the difference between a year and season to season? Hainu Tanakama, isn't it the same as the Tanakama? Isn't a season a year? Ikabeinayu Churfe, where it's early, so the next press came before a year. Va'afle, where it came after a year, late. Rabbi Yossi Aimer, haroitza l'taron miyod, if he wants to purify it immediately, magilon b'roischen, he boils it with hot water, o cholton b'mei zaysin, or scalds it with hot olive juice. Rab Shimon ben Gamliel mishum Rab Yossi Aimer, manichon tachas thinner, you place the netting under a faucet of water, a pipe of water, shememav mikalkin, that the water is constantly flowing out of, o b'mayan, or in a spring, shememav roidfin, that the water is rushing. The kama, for how long does it have to be? An aina. We'll see an aina is a period of 12 hours. Now, kederach shamru b'yayin nesach, like they said by yayin nesach, kach amru b'taras. So the Gemara says, but we were talking about Tumah B'tara. Klapei Elaya, towards the tail, we were talking about Tumah B'tara. B'tara's kaimina. So the Gemara says, yeah, reverse it. Ela kederach she'amru b'taras, just like they said that you could use these procedures by Tyrus, kach amru b'yayin nesach. So did they say by yayin nesach. Now, kama oina, how much is an oina? Am Rab Chia bar Abba, Am Rab Chia bar Abba, Am Rab Yochanan, oy yoim oy laila, either day or a night. Now this is when the day and the night is equal. So then that's 12 hours. Rabbi Chana She'ina, ve'imri la Rabbi Chana bar She'ina, Amar Rabba bar Chana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Chatzi yoim v'chatzi laila. Now this is when the night and the day are not equal. But in total they add up to 24 hours. So if you want to get the amount of 12 hours, you take half the day and half the night. Chatzi yoim v'chatzi laila. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak v'lo pligi. Hobbit kufas Nisan and Tishrei, in the spring and the fall, when the days and the nights are equal, so they said either a day or a night, which is 12 hours. Hobbit kufas Tamas v'Tevis, what is it? In the summer where the days are long and the nights are short, or the winter where the days are short and the nights are long, so then it's a half a day and a half a night, which will give you a half a short day and a half a long night, or a half of a short night and a half of a long day, which again will give you 12 hours. Now, Amar Rav Yehuda, Hane Ravke de Aramoy. Now, Ravke are bags. These are bags that were porous and juice went through them. These are bags that they put the sediment of the grapes, the pulp of the grapes, in these sacks, and the juice would come out of them. If you want to purify these sacks, if you want to purify these sacks, well, it depends what they're made out of. Are you still with me, Rabbi Isai? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
okay.
Yes, we are.
There's no internet here. I'm just using my phone.
Even
Yeah.
I'm here.
All right, we can't have everything. The mazia, if they're made out of here, medicham, it's enough just to rinse them. The amra, if they're made out of wool, menagvan, we scald them with hot ash. The kisna, if they're made out of linen, then miyashnon, you don't use it for 12 months. The kitre, if there's knots in them, you have to make sure to sharilahu, to untie the knots. Now, hani dikle v'chalosa da'armoy, a lot of different types of kalim we're learning about tonight. Dikle are baskets made out of dikule are baskets that we used as sieves, as sifters. And if they were made out of palm branches, or v'chalasa, or were made out of, excuse me, hani dikule. We're not yet learning what materials they are. Hani dikule baskets, v'chalasa, and beehive-shaped sieves, darmoi, belonging to a guy. It depends what they're made out of. If they were sewn together with the chavle de tzurei is wicker. With wicker, medichen. It's enough to rinse them out. The tzafsa, if they're made out of tzafsa, if the baskets are made out of bulrush, lenagvon, then you have to scour them. The kisna, if they're made out of linen, miyashnon, we age them a year. And again, the irisbu kitre, if there are knots, sharilahu, we undo the knots so we could get the water or the scouring could get through. Ima. Amaretz, now an Amaretz is not careful in Tumah. So Amaretz shahoishit yodoi legas, he stretched his hand into the press, Ayvei. V'noga be'eshkolos, and he touched a cluster of grapes. It's a machlokes Rebbe v'Rebbe Chia. It's a machlokes Rebbe and Rebbe Chia. Chad Amar Eshkol v'kol svivois of Tamein, the cluster that the Amaretz touches, and all that's immediately around it becomes tummy. Now the logic is very simple. The Amaretz is an avatuma. The grapes that he touches becomes a rishon. The grapes that they touch becomes a sheni. Further than a sheni, it doesn't go by chulin. Only by truma it becomes a shlishi, and by kachim it becomes a revi. So therefore, eshkol, the grapes that the Amaretz touches becomes a rishon. V'kol svivoisav, and what's immediately around that cluster becomes a sheni and is tamein. But the kol hagas kula tar, the rest of the gas is tar. V'chad amar, and the other opinion says that since there's juice around the grapes, there's some liquid on the grapes, it merges with the liquid in the press, and it all becomes one, and therefore when the Amaretz touches it, the whole gas becomes tamei. V'chad amar kol hagas kula nami tameya. Says the Gemara, Lamandi Yomer Eshkol v'kol svivois of Tameim. The cluster and all the grapes around it is Tamei, v'kol hagas kuloi ta'ira, but the rest of the press is tar. Ma'ishna mehaditnan. Why is it different from that which we learned? Sheretz shenimtza b'reichayim, a sheretz, that's one of the shmoina shrotzim that has a tumah when it's dead, like a lizard, a toad, a chameleon. There's 8 shrotzim. So if you find a lizard, a dead lizard, in the press, in the olive press, einoi mitame elamokum magoy. It only is mitame the place that it touches. V'emoy mashkin mahalech, and if there's liquid there flowing, hakol tamei. So there you see that the sheretz is metame the whole press. Why over here do we say that it only is metame, the Amaretz is only metame the cluster and the one next to it? So he says it's a different mitzias. Hosam, in the case of the sheretz, loy mafsik v'loy midei, nothing interrupts between the sheretz and the liquid in the press. Hacha mifsikei eshkolos. Here, according to the Tanakama, other clusters interrupt from it to the content, to the liquid of the press, and therefore it acts as an interposition that it should not become tamei. Orulei Rabbanan l'Reb Yirmiyah, the Rabbanan instructed to Reb Yirmiyah, there's ice in the machine. Orulei, I'm again checking if you're all with me.
Yes, we're all with you.
Wow, it's you know something I have to tell you. that it's an eerie feeling to be teaching you and not seeing you. And most of you understand what I mean. I talk a misseeing, but Eddie, why are you looking like that? It's great to be with you, even though I cannot see you. I really don't know what's going on over here. It's really the oddest thing. It's enough. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Orule Rabbanan Rabbi Yirmiyah, the Rabbanan instructed to Rabbi Yirmiyah, the Imrei La and others say Lebrei de Rabbi Yirmiyah, Kedivrei Ha'aymer, they paskin like the first opinion that Eshkol the Kol Srivoi Sav Tameim, just the cluster and the immediate area around is Tameh, but the Kol Agas Kula Torah, but the rest of the press is all tar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'hakol niyeh b'dvaro.
Right.
Now, we know if you buy something from a guy, you have to do tefillah. You have to toivel it. Besides that, if it's an old item, you also have to get out the forbidden absorption. So, if you buy something from a guy, that which only needs tefillah. Let's say you bought it new. Yatvil. If it's something that was used in boiling liquid, lahagil, if you have to purge it with boiling water, yagil, and then you toivel it. Lelabein ba'ar, if you used it over the fire like a grill, yalabein ba'ar, then you have to burn it out with fire, and then be toivel it. So, for example, a shpud, a spit, v'ha'askala, and a grill, malabnoin ba'ar. Now, a sakin, a knife, so a knife, shofa, you grind it with the grindstone, you put it on the grindstone that they use to sharpen the knives. V'hi tahira. We'll see other eitzes in the Gemara of, wow, look at this. 40 zoomers. 40. This is really amazing. As we welcome in Richard Rosenzweig, we're mamish 10 away from the promised land.
Maybe we should take over the videos and get more.
Now, it's not funny at all.
Maybe we can get smart one than a dumb one, but that was good.
Tana. We learned in a brisa, now besides purging it or burning it, the kulan tzrichen tefillah ba'arbam sa. They all need to be immersed in 40 sa in a mikveh ksheir. So the Gemara says, how do we know that? How do we know this din of immersing in a mikveh? Menani mili. Amar Rav Damakra, when we brought back the booty from Midian, after we took the booty of Midian, when we avenged ourselves for the terrible sins of the Bnei Midian, it says, Kol davar asher yavoi be'esh, whatever was used in fire, taviru be'esh, you should pass it through fire, you should do liben, and then it says v'tar. So that's another instruction to purify. Hoisif loch hakosiv tara acheres, it adds another tara, namely tefillah. Tani bar kapar mitoch shenema b'mei nida, it says in the water of the nida, our mei nida is the mei chatas, which was sprinkled on the third and the seventh day to be a matara tummy mace. Now, since it says b'mei nida shemei ani shetzarach hazor shlishi ushvi, maybe not just tefillah, but you should need to have to sprinkle it on the third and the seventh day. Talmud Leimer ach cholak. It says ach to separate that's only by a tummy mace. I see imkein mat Talmud Leimer b'mei nida. then why does it say may nida? That's coming to tell you that you need to be toivel in 40 sa. Mayim shenida nida toivelas bem. You need water that a nida immerses. Aviyaymer abam sa. Now, why does it have to say may nida and also v'taher? Itzrich l'michta v'taher, v'itzrich l'michta b'may nida. Because ikas of v'taher, I would say it's enough even a small amount. Havamina v'taher koldu. If, let's say, you buy a needle, you could put it into a very small amount of water. So, kas rachmana b'may nida, that you need water that a nida is toivel. But v'ikas rachmana b'may nida, havamina, I would think maybe you should need, after doing the tefillah, you should need the setting of the sun. Havamina herav shemesh kanida, that it's not enough tefillah, you should wait till the sun sets. So, kas rachmana v'toyer la'alter. Amr Rav Nachman, Amr Rabba Baravua, not just if you buy from them old kalim that was used just with cold that you have to do tefillah, but afilu kalim chadashim b'mashma. Even if you buy new utensils from a guy, you have to be toivel. Da yeshenim v'libnon, because when you took from Midian old ones and you burnt it, when you burn it out, it makes it like new. Chadashim gamu. And even so, it says v'tar that you have to do tefillah. V'afilu achi by tefillah. Maskver of sheishes. Then even when you buy a pair of scissors, cloak scissors, you should also need to be toivel. Maskver Rav sheishes ihachi afilu zuza desarbala nami. Even a cloak scissor also. Amalei, so he says, no, we learn it out from Midian, and since it says over there, kalim that were used in fire, that's food kalim. Amalei klei suda emurim b'pasha. It's only kalim used for food. Now, what happens if you go into a Goyisha store and you want to drink from their glasses? Do you have to toivel them if you borrow it from them? Says no. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Baravua, lo yishanu ela b'glekuchen. When you buy it, or kamaisa shahoya, like when we took the kalim of Midian, that we took possession of it. But if we borrow it from them, let's say you go into a Goyisha bar and you drink something with their glass, it doesn't need tefillah.
You hear that, Marshall?
Avol she'ulin loy.
Out of the bottle.
Avol she'ulin loy, but not borrowed. Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef zovin mana de marda. Now marda, it doesn't sound very appealing in our society. Marda is a combination of earthenware and dungware. It was a amalgam of earthenware and dung, baked in a furnace. So he bought mana de marda over kecham. Savar lahatvila. He thought that you need to immerse it. Amalei ahum rabbanan v'Rab Yaakov Shmei l'didi mifresh l'minei de Rab Yochanan. To me, it was explained to Rab Yochanan that klei matchus emurim b'parsha. It says in the parsha metal kalim, and therefore earthenware and dung doesn't need to be toivel. What about glassware? What about glassware? As we welcome in A.B. Spry, maybe we are without a view tonight. It's a share without a view. Listen, I'm very grateful that I'm able to come to you using the hotspot of my phone, and you're able to hear me perfectly. It's a big bracha. So the Gemara says that glassware is going to be the same as metalware. As the Gemara says, Rav Ashi, Hani klei zechuches. The glassware, hoyel v'chinish tabru, since if it breaks, Yeshlem takana, you could melt it and refurbish it. Kiklei madchas dami, it's considered like metal. Kunya, what about earthenware that's glazed? Pligiba Ravacha v'Ravina. It's a machlokes Ravacha Ravina. Chadama kitchilasai, v'chadama kisaifai. One says that we view it like it's initial, it's earthenware, and therefore it doesn't need tefillah. And one says we look at it at the end, and since it's glazed, it does need tefillah. V'hilchas kisaifai, that it's glazed, it needs tefillah. Ibayalahu. Mashkanta mai. What happens if a guy gives Marshall a keli as collateral? Marshall gave him a loan. Please mute yourself, Rabbi Isai. He gave the Marshall gave the guy a loan, and the guy gave Marshall a keli as collateral. Is Marshall able to drink from it without tefillah? Amar Bar Vashi, Abba Mashkin le'ovid kechavim kasa de kaspa. My father, a guy gave him a silver goblet. V'atpalei, he first immersed it, and v'ishtebei. But I don't know why. V'lo yadane imishum de kasavar mashkanta kizvinei. That a collateral is always like a sale, and therefore you have to be toivel it. Or because he saw that the Ovid Kachavim was not planning him to pay him and was planning to leave the kais by him, and that's why he was toivel it. Tan Rabbanan. Halikeya klei tashmish min Ovid Kachavim. When you buy utensils from a guy, dvarim shaloi nishtamish b'hem, new things, matvilan, all you have to do is toivel, v'hein time, you could use them. Dvarim shenishtam b'hem al yedei tzainin, if you used it with cold stuff, kigain kaises, cups, vikitainas, bottles, with sluchiyos, flasks, madichan, rinse them, or matvilan, immerse them, v'hein time. Dvarim shenishtam b'hem al yedei chamin, with hot, kigain hayoros, like vats, hakumkumusan, samovars, mechamechamim, kettles, magilan, use them with boiling, purge them, or matbilan, toivel them, aim toivel. Dvarim shenishtamesh b'hem al yedei or it's used through fire, kigain hashpudim v'askelois, spits and grills, malabnon, you have to burn them out, umatvilon v'aim toivel. V'kulam shenishtamesh b'hem ad shelo yatfil, whatever is used before you do tefillah. Now, before you use tefillah, it's not the same. The Gemara talks about what if you use it and it has bliya inside. In the case of tefillah, it has nothing to do with bliya, and many learn that here it means that if it was used with coal and you didn't do anything, so therefore, if you didn't put it in the tefillah, you didn't even rinse it. So, but anyway, or v'shelo yagal if you didn't purge it, v'shelo yalbin if you didn't burn it out, tani choda aser, then the food that you use with it is aser, v'tani idach mutter. And the Gemara says, it's simple, do you hold nice and tam lefkam is mutter or aser? Like kasha, command yom nice and tam lefkam is aser, so that even though it was an old, spoiled bliya, inside the Goyish Keli, it's still awesome. The one that says is mutter is command amar nois tam lefkam mutter. Says the Gemara, lamanda amar nois tam lefkam mutter. So then, why do you have to kasher a keli? Kiulei oivdik kechavim da'asir achmana, that which the Torah says that you have to kasher the kelim of minyan. Why do you have to kasher them? The bliya is old, and nice and tam lefkam is mutter. Amar Rav Chia Bereid Ravuna loy asr Torah. Where does the Torah say that you have to kasher the kelim of Midian? Ela kedera de bas yuma. It means where they captured kelim that were just used that day. The loy nice and tam lefkamu. It's not nice and tam lefkama. Not nice and tam lefkan. Says Gemara. So then, do you mean to say that if it's an old keli, then you don't have to kasher it? Mikan ve'elach lishterei. We shouldn't have to kasher it. Says Gemara, the reason why we kasher it is only because gezeira she'ena bas yuma, a gezeira of a kedeira that's not a bas yuma, that's not a day, not recent, mishum kedeira bas yuma. In other words, if we would say you don't have to kasher it, you might come not to kasher even a new keli. Whoa. Okay, this was, I think, in the history of the shir, this is the first viewless daf. I hope we don't have to do this. It's not very geschmack. I love seeing my talmidim. As I said, most of my talmidim.
Oh, get out!
Marshall, we're in a very exclusive club.
Okay. Okay. Rabbi said to remember tomorrow night again, around 8:10, as soon as I get back from Mariv, and also we're going to do the Mishnah Yomis now, and remember on Wednesday we start a new Masechta. Okay, so let's see. Now we're going to now we're going to do the Mishnah Yomis.